So much, everyone, for staying with us. Let's get right into it. Now, there would have been a shutdown or a great impact on the activities in Nigerian hospitals this week if the planned industrial action by the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors, NARD, is not averted of care or care is not taken. If they had gone on the strike based on the threats that they have issued, it would being that you go to some of the hospitals and you may not find the resident doctors attending to you. So the national leadership of the resident doctors in Abuja today and announced that they are setting up an ad hoc committee to meet with all the stakeholders and address the matter of their demands. They met with the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Honorable Tajudeen Abbas, who is to meet with President Bola Tinubu in a move to avert the looming strike. Now, that meeting is not stopping the strike, but they are waiting for the outcome. The Speaker further appealed to the resident doctors to give the House leadership a 2-week period to find solutions to the issues raised. The meeting was held largely behind closed doors. Take a listen to what the Speaker said at that meeting.
I encourage you to take advantage of this meeting to bear your minds on the issues at stake and suggest realistic solutions to them. We must approach these issues with an open mind and guided by the fact that revenues available to the government may not fully meet our demands. Therefore, we must find a middle ground that satisfies everyone without prejudice to the 2023 Memorandum of Understanding. We particularly note that your demands include the payment of 2023 Medical Residency Training Fund, upward review of consolidated medical salary structure, CONMES, and salary arrears dating back to 2015. These issues and more can be resolved without embarking on an industrial action. In this regard, therefore, we urge you as leaders to appeal to your members to suspend any action while we interface with the executive arm of government. We equally seek your understanding on the fact that a new administration just came on board.
That is the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Honorable Tajudeen Abbas. Let's get talking. We have the President of the Resident Doctors Association, Dr. Emeka Orji, who joins us virtually from Abuja. Thank you so much, Dr. Orji, for joining us. Let's get this straight. From the facts that are available, you went on a 5-day warning strike on the 17th of May, 2023. After that strike, you and your colleague had given the federal government 2 weeks ultimatum, which is supposed to elapse on the 19th of July. Is that right? And if federal government does not meet your demand, we're going to begin an indefinite nationwide strike. That is your plan. And you had reeled out, brought forward the resolution of your association, which are the demands that you are putting forward to the federal government. But give us the outcome of today's meeting. Have you agreed to the 2 weeks that the House of Reps is asking you to meet with the president and come back to you? Have you agreed to stall for those 2 weeks?
Well, Michelle, thank you for having me. It's not in my position to agree or disagree to anything. All we can do is to transmit the appeal of the Honorable Speaker to our members. However, I must point out that what we are discussing, the issues at stake are very important and urgent. And some of them are already leading to death of our members and Nigerians at large. And we have been on this for so long. So we want to appeal that whatever is being done to avert this strike should be done within this week. Because from the pillars we have, our members may not continue to wait any longer, even as we appeal to them. Take, for instance, the issue of the 2023 Medical Residency Training Fund. There's no reason why that payment shouldn't have been made by now. The fund is accordingly appropriated in the 2023 budget. And so we have been on this matter for so long, trying to appeal to the government to release the funds for payment. And I can tell you that up to now it has not been released. For the one-for-one replacement, you will know that Nigerians who visit our hospitals will note that we do not have enough doctors and nurses there. And there was a policy that government intended to use to quickly replace doctors and nurses who have left the system. And unfortunately, we have been on this too since January this year. The circular have not come out. Not to talk of the other issues of the salary arrears, upward review of promise and all that. So we appreciate the speaker for calling us, and we are also appealing that within the week we believe that there are a few of those issues that can be sorted out in a matter of a day or two. And so if they're able to sort those ones out, it will be easier for us to convince our members during our later in the week for them to continue to give that room for other issues to be sorted out. Thank you.
It seems to be a very noisy environment. It's making it very difficult to have this conversation. The environment where you are, I know you may not have powers over it because I understand that you have a flight out of Abuja and you're speaking this time to speak to us, but it's really very difficult now. So we may not be able to have a long time to have this conversation. But Dr. Oji, if you can tell us tonight, since you don't have a response to the speaker, you have not made a position on based on what you have said, if I understand you correctly. So what is the way out now? What should we expect?
In that meeting with the speaker, we placed two demands on the table that we believe can be sorted out today, tomorrow. And he agreed that he will sort those ones out. If he's able to sort them out, then the other issues at stake, we can decide to give him the 2 weeks. We are national officers. It is very difficult for us to make any categorical statement in a meeting like that. However, knowing our members, knowing how they feel about this matter, we believe that the issue of 2023 medical-related training fund and the issue of one-for-one replacement, if they are sorted out in a matter of a day or two, it will be easier to convince our members to give the 2 weeks that is being asked for the upward review of consolidated medical salary structure and the salary areas that we talked about to be addressed.
All right, but doctor, sorry, apologies if I may jump in, but this agreement that you have with the federal government, it was initially with the Buhari government, and it does look like the implementation did not happen. Is it possible, just for the sake of Nigerians who are supposed to benefit from the services of you and your colleagues within the association? For example, let me give you what the statistics tells us, doctor. A report says that between 2013 and 2021, Nigeria lost over 300 working days in the health sector to strikes. The report also says that your association accounted for 61% of the strikes, specifically responsible for 11 of the 19 industrial actions which took place, going on strike for 154 out of the 252 days of industrial action recorded by the government. Would it be fair for you to give this new government some window other than the 2 weeks that you gave them because they just assume in office, won't we imagine? Is that possible?
Well, the statistics that you just read that is questionable, but in direct answer to your question, the issue has even become more urgent with the removal of fuel subsidy. You see, everybody is suffering, and especially our members. And I keep saying that the issues at stake, whether it's the previous government or this current one, can be resolved. Incidentally, in the memorandum of understanding we signed with government 2 months ago, all the people that signed, they are all permanent secretary. They are still in this government. They have also been part of the several discussions we've been having with this current government. So if you talk to them directly, they will tell you these things can be resolved. But we are actually at a loss why some of them have not been sorted out. And I mentioned 2023 MRTF. I mentioned the circular on one-for-one replacement. Nobody has been able to convince us why those things cannot be sorted out in a day or two. All we've been having a series of meetings, from Monday last week till this week, we've had up to 4 different meetings, and each one of them We promise us that, give us a day or two. We are going to sort this out, and we believe that they should do more because the people that we are representing, they are asking for tangible results from those meetings we've been having. And I fear that if the government side does not work hard to resolve the two issues that I told you about, which they can resolve as early as Wednesday this week, then it will be difficult for us to control our members. And like I said, these issues are germane, they are important, they are urgent, and the government has the capacity to sort them out.
We understand that we have between 9 to 10,000 resident doctors in Nigeria. And give us an understanding, because a lot of people will wonder, okay, so if the resident doctors go on strike, so what then? What is the impact? Maybe the health sector can run without you and your association. How pivotal, important are the numbers of about 10,000, if I'm correct? You can give us the right number of the resident doctors we have in Nigeria and what their role is within the health sector in the country.
Well, we are the largest medical workforce, and each time we withdraw our services, the hospitals essentially shut down. And incidentally, it is because of this that we have been hesitating. Like I said, this issue started since January this year. We have issued ultimatum 3 times on these same issues, and they have still not been sorted out. But this time around, I don't know whether it will be able to still be at the level of ultimatum. I want to keep appealing that government should address these issues before the end of this week. Because in fact, even after that engagement with the speaker, a lot of our members started reaching out to us to know whether there are tangible results. And when they even read in the news the statement from the House of Rep, many of them were not really too happy because they felt that, okay, there will be specific timelines as to, in a matter of days, when these two issues that I talked about will be resolved. Before we now start talking about the other major demands that we have, that we believe we can give that 2 weeks, and we presented this to the House of Rep, and I think they understood us because the speaker also made a promise that we should give him today, tomorrow, to interface with the executive arm of government to address those two urgent demands. And we believe that he will be able to do that. If he does it, then it will be easier to convince our members to continue rendering services even from the end of this week. So it is just an appeal. We are all patriots, we are all citizens of this country, and no one wants Nigerians to suffer. But already they are suffering. They come to hospitals, they don't see doctors. Do we continue to allow something like that to continue to happen? So everybody should walk around the clock to avert this imminent industrial action.
There are those who say that Nigeria needs about 40 to 50,000 medical doctors to be able to meet the United Nations quota or recommendations of doctor-to-patient ratio. And in the country that we have lost almost 3,000 medical doctors to the Jackpot syndrome just in 2 years. And out of 24,000 registered doctors in Nigeria, about 10,000 of them are resident doctors. And now, these 10,000, your colleagues are threatening to go on strike, which means there is a threat on the health sector in Nigeria. On a final note, Dr. Orji, you are saying from tonight, anything can happen. You and your colleagues might go on a nationwide strike and might be indefinite. Is that a position?
Unfortunately so. But I want to repeat that this can be averted. Believe me when I say this can be averted. Let government work around the clock to avert this. We don't want to go on this strike. And we have said this to every body that have met us on this same issue, both the executive and the legislative arm. We believe that they can resolve it. And indeed, they have not told us that they won't be able to resolve this in a day or two. And so we are holding them to their words that in a matter of today, tomorrow, let them resolve the urgent issues that we have, and then we can begin to discuss with them on the other issues that we believe can take up to 2 weeks. But 2023 MRTF secular and one for one replacement, there's no reason why by tomorrow or less we shouldn't have those issues sorted out. And we believe they can do that. Whereas for the number of doctors we need, you know that the WHO doctor to patient ratio is 1 to 600. So if you do the math, you will realize that even the 50,000 you talked about will be grossly inadequate to take care of the health needs of this country. So we need much more than that. And again, you need to realize that most of these issues are the issues leading to brain drain, massive brain drain we're having in the health sector. And so it's an emergency. Can the government work with us to resolve these problems so that our doctors and nurses will continue to stay in this country to serve the citizens of this country without having to go out to other countries in search of greener pastures?
Dr. Emeka Ochie would have loved to have more conversation about this matter, but we do hope and plead with you and your colleagues that if it's possible for you to give some more time, because doctor strike will add to the injury that Nigerians are experiencing presently. There's hardship in the country, but I wish you and your colleagues the very best. Thank you so much, Dr. Emeka Ochie, President of the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors.
Thank you for having me, Sean.
Thank you.